Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel.
Hi there, we're so glad you're here.
As always, we help you speak English with confidence in a simple, practical way.
That's right, and today we're tackling a topic that's super useful but can feel really tricky: how to talk about your childhood in English.
This is honestly so important. Think about it. When you're making new friends, they always ask, "So, where did you grow up?" Or in a job interview, they might say, "Tell me a little about yourself." And your childhood is part of that story.
Absolutely, or maybe you're looking at old photos with your English-speaking partner's family and you want to share those amazing memories.
Exactly. And sometimes you just want to tell a funny story about something silly you did as a kid, but then you get stuck trying to find the right words. You think, how do I say hopscotch? What's the verb for playing with action figures? It can freeze you up.
Don't worry at all. We're going to make this fun and easy. We're not going to give you a boring list of words. Instead, we're going to walk you through how we actually talk about our own childhoods.
Yeah, and you'll see, our childhoods were pretty different.
They really were. But that's perfect because it means we'll cover lots of different vocabulary and situations. By the end of this, you'll have a perfect, simple structure and all the key phrases you need to share your own stories.
It's going to be great. So let's jump right in. So, Sophie, you're the organized one. When someone says, "Tell me about your childhood," what actually goes through your head? Like, where do you even start? Because my brain just goes completely blank.
Okay, so for me, it's like a little system. I don't just dump every memory at once. I usually start with the big picture. I'll set the scene. So I might say, I grew up in a small coastal town, or I was raised in a really busy city. That gives them the context immediately.
I was raised. See, I would just say I lived in, but I was raised sounds so much better. It's more about your whole vibe, not just your address.
Exactly. It's about your upbringing. Then from that big picture, I zoom in on one or two specific aspects. I might choose to talk about my family life or my school days first. For example, I could say, my upbringing was quite strict, but very loving. Or my early school years were actually really fun because I was obsessed with art class.
Ah, you have categories. You categorized your childhood memories. That's amazing. I just have like a chaotic junk drawer of random flashes, a smell of cut grass, the taste of a specific candy, the feeling of scraping my knee. No categories, just sensations.
And that's a perfect way to start too. Those sensory memories are so powerful. That's how a lot of stories begin. You could say, this might sound random, but whenever I smell fresh rain, it takes me back to summer storms when I was about 8. That's a beautiful, personal way to lead into a story.
Okay, I like that. It takes me back to. So let's say I've set the scene or shared a random sense memory. What's the next piece of your system?
Next, I try to share one concrete anecdote, a little story that illustrates what my childhood was like. The key is to use the past continuous and simple past together to paint the picture. So I wouldn't just say, I played outside. I'd say, I remember this one time, my brother and I were building a fort in the backyard, and suddenly it started pouring rain. We got completely soaked, but we thought it was the best adventure ever.
Right, so we were building sets the scene, the activity in progress, and then it started is the event that happened. That makes it feel like a story, not just a fact. My version would be, yeah, I played outside. It was fun. I shrugged, smiling. Not exactly compelling storytelling.
But you could do it. Just pick one clear memory. What's a strong one for you?
Okay, I was always getting into trouble for coming home late for dinner. My mom would always say the same thing, "Jack, your food is getting cold." And I would yell back, "Coming." But then I'd get distracted for another 20 minutes.
See, that's fantastic. You used would always to show a repeated habit in the past. That's a super useful tense for talking about routines you had as a kid. I would always ride my bike after school. My dad would always read me a story. It tells us about your normal life back then.
Huh, I did do that, didn't I? Okay, so after the little story, what then? Do you give a moral, a conclusion?
Sometimes I might reflect on it a little, just a simple sentence about what that memory means to me now. Like, looking back, I realize how much freedom we had. Or it's a core memory for me about how creative we could be with nothing but some old sheets and sticks.
A core memory. I'm stealing that. It sounds way more important than this thing I remember. And looking back is a perfect transition from the story to your adult perspective. Man, you really do have a blueprint for this.
It's not a strict blueprint, it's just a natural flow. Set the scene, share a specific example, and add a little reflection. The most important part is just to pick one thread and follow it, instead of trying to say everything at once. Your story about being late for dinner is a perfect thread. It tells me about your relationship with your mom, your personality as a kid, your routines, all from one little anecdote.
Okay, I'm feeling less panicked about this now. So the goal isn't to summarize my entire childhood from birth to age 18 in 2 minutes.
No, absolutely not. That's the biggest relief, right? You just share one or two little glimpses, a glimpse of where you were raised, a glimpse of a habit you had, or a standout memory. That's more than enough for a conversation. It's inviting, not overwhelming.
A glimpse. I can do a glimpse, especially if I can talk about the trouble I used to get into. I have a lot of material for that.
I have no doubt, and you already used so many of the perfect natural phrases for doing this. Let's pause and actually highlight those because they're the real keys. All right, we just used a lot of really useful words and phrases naturally in our chat. Let's take a moment to review the most important ones so you can feel super confident using them yourself.
Yes, please, because I think I used some of them by accident, and I'd like to know what they actually mean so I can do it on purpose next time.
Perfect. Let's break it down. Jack, what does the phrase grew up mean?
Well, in our talk, I said you grew up in a small town. So it's not just about living somewhere as a kid, right? It's more about the whole process of becoming an adult there.
Exactly. To grow up means to change from a child to an adult, and it includes all the experiences, influences, and places that happen during that time. It's the most common and natural verb for this. Example, I grew up speaking 2 languages at home.
Got it. And you also said I was raised. That's similar but different?
Great question. To be raised is more specific. It focuses on how your parents or family cared for you and taught you values. It's about your upbringing. So, I was raised to always be polite, or I was raised in a very musical household. The place is often included, but the emphasis is on the nurturing environment.
Which leads us to upbringing itself. That's the noun for all that raising, right?
Precisely. Your upbringing is the combination of care, training, and education you receive as a child. It shapes who you are. In our conversation, I said, my upbringing was quite strict. It's a fantastic, sophisticated word to describe the nature of your childhood environment.
Love it. Okay, what about that sensory memory phrase I liked? It takes me back to.
That's a beautiful, expressive phrase. It takes me back to, a time or place, means something in the present makes you vividly remember a past experience. It's like a time machine for your mind. The example from our talk was, the smell of rain takes me back to summer storms when I was 8. You can use it with smells, sounds, tastes, anything that triggers a strong memory.
Super useful. Now, we talked about grammar for stories. You mentioned the past continuous and simple past. Can we define those in a simple way?
Absolutely. Think of them as a storytelling team. The past continuous, was, were, plus verb ing, sets the scene or describes the longer action that was in progress. In my story, we were building a fort, is the scene. The simple past, the normal past tense verb, is the specific event that interrupts or happens within that scene. It started to rain. Using them together creates a dynamic, engaging story instead of a flat list of events.
And my favorite tense for habits would always or just would.
Yes, when talking about repeated actions or habits in the past, using would is perfect and very natural. It shows it was a regular thing, not a one-time event. You said, I would always get into trouble, and my mom would always say. It's much more descriptive than just, I got into trouble a lot.
And lastly, that wrapping up phrase, looking back.
Looking back is a phrase we use to introduce our present-day perspective on a past event. It signals a small reflection. It means, from my current point of view, I now think or understand something about that childhood experience. For example, looking back, I realize how lucky I was. It's a simple way to add depth and conclude a childhood story.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me try to recap the whole walkthrough from start to finish in 30 seconds using these terms. So, when someone asks you about your childhood, don't panic. First, set the scene. Say where you grew up or how you were raised. Give a glimpse of your upbringing. Then pick one anecdote, one little story. Use the past continuous and simple past together to make it vivid, or use would to talk about a past habit. You can even start with a sense memory, something that takes you back to that time. Finally, you can add a brief reflection with looking back to share what it means to you now. The goal is just to share a glimpse, not your whole life story. It's that simple.
Perfect recap, Jack. You got it all. That's exactly the flow. Now let's make this even more personal and interactive. All right, now for our favorite part, hearing from you. Here's our question of the day. We want you to think about everything we discussed. Ready?
Let's hear it.
So, what is one specific smell, sound, or taste that instantly takes you back to your childhood? It could be the smell of a certain food cooking, the sound of a specific game you played, the taste of a treat from your hometown. Just one sensory memory.
Oh, that's an amazing question. I love that. It makes you think of those little core memories we talked about.
It does, and we'll go first to give you an example. For me, it's the smell of chlorine and sunscreen. The second I smell that combination, I am right back at my town's public swimming pool in July, feeling the hot concrete under my feet, waiting for the whistle to blow so we could jump in. It's the smell of pure, endless summer.
That's so vivid. Mine is a sound. It's the very specific crunching sound of walking on frozen, snowy grass early in the morning. We called it ice cigarettes because it looked like white straw. That crunch, crunch, crunch sound takes me straight back to walking to the school bus stop in the winter, all bundled up, my breath making clouds in the air. It's a cold, crisp, perfect memory.
See, those are perfect personal glimpses. Now we really want you to share yours. This is the perfect safe place to practice a little English. Write your answer in the comments below, just 1 or 2 sentences like we did. Tell us, for me, it's the smell of, or the sound that takes me back is. We read every single comment and we love connecting with you. And the best way to learn is to try it right now. Here's a super simple practice prompt. Think of your childhood home. Finish this sentence in your head, or even better, write it down. I remember when I was about age, I would always. That's it. Just practicing that would always structure once makes it so much easier to use next time.
Yes, do that. And while you're down there in the comments, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. It truly helps us know what content you love. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We make new videos every week to help you take the stress out of English and just start speaking.
Coming up next on the channel, we've got some great topics you've asked for. We'll be breaking down how to tell a funny story in English because everyone wants to share a good joke. We'll also do a deep dive on phrases for agreeing and disagreeing politely, which is so important for friendly debates. And by popular demand, how to describe your personality beyond just nice or friendly.
So much good stuff coming. But for now, we want to say thank you. Sharing pieces of your story in any language is a brave and beautiful thing. Start small, just like we showed you today. We are a community here, and we're all learning together.
Absolutely. We believe in you. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll be right here with you every step of the way. See you next time.